Good evening, everyone. This is the meeting of the Administration and Public Works Committee. And first item on our agenda is we have a quorum. And we want to welcome the new second ward appointee, Mr. Peter Brathwaite. Welcome, Peter. Oh, but, well, Judy will be here in a little bit. Okay, you won't be by yourself long. Then could I get a motion for the approval of the minutes?
Move approval. Second.
Okay, it's been moved and second. All in favor? Aye. Okay. The next on our agenda is the Snow Workers Appreciation Presentation. And we'll turn that over to our Director of Public Works, Ms. Robinson. There's Judy.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Suzette Robinson, the Director of Public Works, and I believe this is the first time, possibly ever, that we have actually recognized the snow removal operations in light of the blizzard where we received 20 inches of snow on the Tuesday night of the blizzard, Tuesday into Wednesday, and then we received an additional 5 inches of snow that following Saturday and Sunday. So I wanted to go through and share with you and the community what goes into snow removal operations. We receive a lot of support from a variety of departments. Community development and human resources, IT, health, law, purchasing. And what those people do for us, for the first time, community development, because of the severity of the storm, for the first time we actually had contractors, and they supervised those contractors to come out and clear sidewalks in front of businesses, in front of residences, where there were seniors with problems, where people, you know, with 20 inches of snow to move and having a difficult time in terms of where to put the snow, that really helped out tremendously. So I really want to thank the people from community development, who I'll ask to stand, Jeff and Carrie. And so thank you very much. And I mean, I have to say thanks to human resources, because they help us get the seasonals that we need all year round. But we do have seasonal support in the wintertime, particularly in our business district area. And you know, IT, what they do kind of goes without saying. They keep us being able to talk on the telephone, work on the computers, and really process all the requests that we get from the residents. And the health department also worked in conjunction with community development in terms of sending out the inspectors to take care of the sidewalks. And we have to be able to have all the resources, and purchasing helps us do that, and law kind of helps us clean up the mess after the fact. All of those things that we thought were really such a great idea in terms of moving the snow away, we get a lot of complaints and have to deal with some of those issues, liability issues. So legal helps us through those. And what you'll see in several of the slides, what I included was at least one email quote that I received, and I got several positive thank yous from all the wards. So you'll see down at the bottom, that's a message from the 6th ward that said, "Thanks to all involved in the snow removal. The plan seems to be working well," is what it says. Now I'm going to talk about the snow fighters in particular, and I separate the snow support with those previous departments. And snow fighter, to me, that means not just the people in the plow. Those are people that are out on the street in the snow. And Evanston Fire really stepped up with us this year. They cleared out the sirens. They assisted residents with stuck vehicles. It was really a cooperative effort. They performed a special transport because we don't have all the streets cleared, so the ambulances can't get down. And they also will salt, the areas adjacent to the station to keep things open so that the trucks can stay out on the street. So that's really helpful. So I really appreciate that. Thank you very much, Chief Cliver and the crew of Evanston Fire. So, and then that's the quote from the second ward that said, "Thank you for all your work you're doing. Good luck today." And the next on our list is the Evanston Snow Fighters, is the police, the Evanston Police Department. They not only just assist us with the towing operations, they also assist us with business district cleanup. Most people don't think about, the work that we do. We're out in the right-of-way, and we really couldn't get the work done, especially when we're out on the ground safely without the police department, particularly when we're working in the evenings, after the bars close. Sometimes people can be a little difficult, and the police really come out and help us so that, the crews can stay safe. So we really appreciate all that they do. And they also assisted with stranded motorists. And they're a lot of times are the first eyes that we have on when the streets are bad. They will notify us when the hazardous driving conditions, when they get reports or called. So a lot of times they're the first line of notification for us when things aren't going right. So we appreciate everything. I don't know if Chief Eddington is here. He is. So thank you very much, Evanston Police. So, and this is a comment from the first ward. They commend the city on plowing downtown in the major thoroughfares. Evanston Snow Fighters, parking. And I mean, everybody always thinks about parking and the tickets and the towing operation, but they also actually are truly snow fighters too. I mean, they get in equipment and they remove snow from the parking lots, and they will also help us on the ground cleaning around meters. So thank you very much. I believe I saw Ricky Voss here earlier as well. So thank you very much. So once again, that's a quote, I believe, from the 8th Ward. I can't really see that. I think that's the number. And it says, "Thanks to your crews for their work this week." And then now I'm going to talk about the Snow Command. These are the plow drivers and the whole snow structure that we have in place that takes care of the removal all throughout the city. The Snow Command is made up of the Public Works Director, Superintendent of Streets and Sanitation, which is Patrick Sheeran, who is here, there. The Snow Commanders, they are responsible, in the field on a day-to-day basis. They work 12-hour shifts. And manage the snow operation, no matter how small or large. I mean, even if they don't have to come out, they're the ones that get the call in the middle of the night from the Evanston Police Department, from our weather notification service, and they're on call, and they don't, they don't take vacation. They are here and available from pretty much November through April on the ready. So that would be Glenn Crabtree and Don Cornelius. Which is here. And so they are actually receiving the Employee of the Week award from, they were one of the first recipients of that for their snow removal operations from last year. So, and then moving on down the snow command list, we have a variety of supervisory support that we could not do without. A lot of times the snow commanders handle a lot of administrative stuff, from responding to accidents, responding to resident complaints. So we really do need eyes out in the field that, that are really checking on the progress that the crews are making. And we couldn't do that without our field supervision, which is Tim Bartis and Mark Steinbuck. Raise your hand. Tim and Mark work for utilities, so they come over and help us during snow. And then we have the tow commanders, which they manage the whole towing operation. This year we did a 4-quadrant scenario that really worked, so much better than what we have been doing in the past, splitting the city in 4ths. And the tow commanders are Jim Nelson from utilities, Mark Younger. Mark Younger is from Forestry. I do not believe he. He's here. Okay. And then we also have Pedro Ulloa, who is from Streets. And then the next area is our business district commanders. They're the ones that clean up the business district, retail, commercial areas, and also the city parking lots. And they are our Sam Ransom and Kevin Johnson. Sorry, Kevin Johnson is here. And then last but not least, the people that keep the equipment on the field and out and operational, and that's the fleet supervisors, and all of these people are on standby, and they work the 12-hour shift when we go into snow mode. And that is David Waite and Romeo Lynn. I don't know if Fleet is here. So that kind of is like the overall command supervisory structure, and then we have the office support. And this, for the blizzard, we get support from all different departments. And so those people listed there answered the phones, and we stayed open and operational and in communications for 24 hours for the first 6 days of the storm. So Janice Luther, Catherine Steinbuck, Petra Belcher, Brittany Scurry, Ingrid Eckersall, Paulina Albazi, Leslie Perez, Donna Brody, June Inerio, Vicki Biner, and John Corbett, and that represents utilities, parks, public works, whole slew, everybody, so, and parking. And then there's a quote from the Third Ward: "The city's doing a great job communicating with residents," and that was in reference to emails, et cetera, et cetera. So the next section, I'm going to talk just about the general people that provide the support, the supplemental support for snow fighters, and that's Forestry, Parks and Recreation. Forestry and Parks provide they're supplemental snow fighters. When we need additional plow drivers, they come in and help us out. They also have primary duties for clearing the parks and recreation facilities as well. So if I could have Parks, Forestry, and Recreation, I'll just give a shout out. Wave your hand, everybody. So, and that's a quote from the Fourth Ward: "Thank you to all the crew members working on snow removal." And the next area also are supplemental snow fighters that we get from utilities, from both water and sewer. They help us out with clearing the primary routes, but they also, our primary snow fighters, they clear the fire stations and the police stations, and they also take care of the employee lots and the water plant and the service center. And we could not do what we do without the forestry group and the utilities group. They are lockstep with streets almost on every snow event. So I really appreciate them as well. So if I can have all the utilities people, raise your hand, utilities. Come on, you can do it. Okay. So, and then this is from the Fifth Ward. They appreciate the city for plowing curb to curb, and thanks also for alley clearing. And then the other thing that we have, and is from Sanitation. They provide supplemental snow fighters too in minor storms, and then they're primary snow fighters in our major storms. And it's a little difficult to see, but we actually have 4 garbage trucks that are equipped with blades. And so when we have a lot of snow, we'll actually suspend a portion of our refuse or recycling now collection to actually put the garbage trucks out on the street. And they do a good job. So everybody from Sanitation, if I could see. And I talked about the business district before. They're the primary snow fighters of the retail and business area, and they're also the primary snow fighters for the city parking lots. And this is a quote from the Ninth Ward: "You guys are great for plowing the streets and the alleys so fast." The business district crew, if you could all give a wave. So thank you very much. And then last but certainly not least is the streets section. We have a day shift that works from 7 to 3, and then the night shift that works from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. every day, starting the first week of December, going through the end of March. So that the night crew, we have 5 people that are on standby that can handle any type of event. A lot of snow tends to start in the middle of the night, so we're able to get everything going and already have salted the primary routes, and they've been able to keep us keep the streets clear for rush hour every morning. So we really appreciate all the job that the streets are doing, the street department or its division does. They are they're, as I mentioned, the primary snow fighters, and after everybody else kind of goes home, they are there day in, day out. And that's a picture of the crew, and then that's also them working, I believe, on Sheridan Road, clearing the snow. So thanks for the amazing job you've been doing. That's from the 7th Ward, and if I can have the street department wave. I want to also take a moment to thank the residents. This blizzard, the residents were amazing. I mean, they were patient, understanding. They assisted us. I mean, some of them went as far as clearing the streets themselves to be able to get their cars out. And most importantly, they really helped each other. So all of those requests that could have come to the police department or could have come to streets, the neighbors really helped our neighbors, and that really allowed us to stay focused on the job. So I really appreciate that. So that was a special thanks for the Evanston residents. And then last but not least, I want to thank the snow fighters, the families, everybody in here that was here and committed, and they were here some 3 days, some stayed and didn't go home because of the weather. So I want to thank their families for taking care of home. I want to thank them for their patience and understanding. A lot of them were doing their homework, they're shoveling. That's 20 inches of snow, and if they're here, they didn't have much assistance in terms of clearing the 20 inches of snow that fell. So I really appreciate them for supporting their family members, and the City of Evanston, we appreciate the family. So please, please, please share that when you go home tonight that I said, I'm not just thanking you, I'm also thanking your families as well. So last but not least, as a thank you from the City of Evanston, we have for the snow fighters, even though they were taking bets that they were shirts and hats, and so I figured you had enough of those. They're actually gym bags. So, and it says Evanston Snow Fighter. So I'll meet you in the back and make sure you all get one before you leave. So thank you very much. I'm sorry. Wait, I have one more thing. I'm sorry, I have one more thing. Mayor. Mayor Tisdall, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
She's supposed to.
I just want you to stay right there for a minute.
Just come and say thank you. I'm sorry.
Alvin, I could talk about you. I think everybody may have heard about my ride with Alvin, but just in case, I went out with Alvin to check on, do a ride along, and he gets to a dead-end street with cars parked on both sides. And I thought, oh boy, I'm not saying a word. Is he going to do it or not? And he turns down the dead-end street, and we get down it, and it's all right. And there's a lady, she's shoveling her own driveway, and she starts to dance to thank Alvin for coming down. And he was grinning. You were grinning, Alvin. And so then after we're down dead-end street with cars parked on both sides, we've got to get back, right? So we're backing up, and she's still dancing. So I knew he was going to do it, and he went down again to clean it up even better. And she danced again. So I just wanted you to know that story, and I wanted you to know that, in my view, that story is typical of the way that all of Evanston felt about you guys and the terrific snow removal job you did for all of us. And I'm not going to do the dance. Alvin, would you like to?
You pass, huh?
Okay, we're not doing the dance. Sorry, guys. But it was a great dance, and on behalf of the City of Evanston, thank you all very much.
Alderman Rainey.
Well, I in addition to thanking everybody else, I think the city owes a huge gratitude to Suzette Robinson
Absolutely.
for I mean, the leadership that she showed and the way people followed and helped out and committed day after day after day, I think really speaks to the role she plays in the city. And I just hope she never has to show or display that kind of leadership again. But you did a wonderful job, and you are looking terrific.
As we thank all of you, as everybody has said, I just want to give a shout out to who represent the women. Thank you, Kelly. Alderman Fifth.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I just also want to add my voice of thanks. I think you guys are just great ambassadors, guys and girls, great ambassadors for the city. You handled yourselves really well, I know, under really stressful conditions. I also had a ride along, so Elliot, are you out there somewhere? And Mike?
He's here.
Yay, all right. Just, I know the folks of my ward just appreciated you so much, and, you know, and I still want to get my driving lesson on your truck. You wouldn't let me drive in the snow, but again, thank you all so much. Every one of you has done a tremendous job, and we're all really grateful.
And I want to say Lisa, too, in terms of the representing the women. And because it's, where are you, Lisa? She's right in the back. Alderman Burris.
Some of you have probably heard the story, but I was here for the blizzard, and then 3 days later, I went out east to visit my son in another town gown kind of a place, and they did a crap job of their snow removal compared to us. I shouldn't say that on TV, but you guys were phenomenal. I was out there, I'm like, we can't get down the streets, and I knew that back home that you guys did an amazing job of getting our streets cleared. So thank you, and particularly in comparison to a community very similar to ours. So great job. Thanks.
Thank you. Ms. Robinson, do you want them to go out now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Glenn. Okay, we're just giving them a minute to get into the hallway, and then we will proceed. Where'd my pen go?
Okay, items for consideration. First is A1, City of Evanston's payroll through February 27th, 2011, $2,548,776.30. Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 2, A2, City of Evanston's bills through 3/15/11, $1,660,716.66. Oh, okay.
Second.
I'm sorry, that was bills through 2/10 and 2/11. The next is bills through just 2/11, and with the ending date of 3/15/11 is $630,708.70.
Second.
Okay, been moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Credit cards through January 31st, 2011, $54,510.84.
Second.
It's been moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, A31, approval of contract awarded to G&L Contractors. Staff recommends city approval of a contract for the purchase of granular materials to G&L Contractors in Skokie for the amount of $35,850. Funding for this will be from the Water Fund and the Sewer Fund with a combined total of $42,000.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, it's been A32, approval of contract to G.A. Johnson and Sons for the Lorraine Morton Civic Center main entry steps project. Staff recommends approval in the amount of $84,330. Funding provided by 2011 Capital Improvement Program, the CIP account 41516, with an allocation of $450,000. This account is intended for a variety of projects at the Lorraine H. Morton Civic Center, including the main entry staircase, asbestos abatement, fire pumps replacement, directory signage, and life safety improvement plan.
Second.
It's been moved in second. Are there any questions?
Point out that it's an Evanston firm
Yes, it is.
who has been getting lots of jobs lately, and maybe, hopefully, we can send a message to other Evanston firms or startups to get cracking, because there's work out there that you can get if you're an Evanston firm and you're competent. So just really encourage. Also, it brings to mind the Minority Business and Evanston Women Business Enterprise Directory. Have we seen that? I remember that
They were revising it or something.
it was being worked on, and I would sure like to see it, or find out when it's going to be ready.
Mr. Griffin is approaching.
Good evening, Steve Griffin with Community Economic Development. Yes, ma'am, we've got a list ready. Now we're about ready to publicize that. The issue is we had to kind of scrub some of it because of some non-Evanston businesses that were listed in there. So so within the next month, I hope to have that out, Alderman Rainey.
Okay, that would be
Right.
good.
Thank you. Okay. I think did we vote? Yeah, we did. No, we didn't. We didn't vote. It's been moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
A3.3, approval of single source purchase for coal patch materials from Healy's Asphalt Company. Staff is requesting approval of a single source purchase of coal patch materials for cold weather street maintenance activities from Healy's Asphalt Company in the amount of $50,000. Healy's is the only regional supplier of UPM, Unique Paving Materials, High Performance Coal Patch Mix. Funding for this work will be from the Streets General Fund, account 2670-65055 in the amount of $30,000. The Water Fund, 7116-65051 in the amount of $10,000. And from the Sewer Fund, 7400-65051 in the amount of $10,000.
Move approval.
Second.
It's been moved in second. Are there any questions? Alderman Rainey.
Ms. Robinson, when we patch potholes, I understand about using this material for restoring excavations and things. When we do potholes, does this material last as well as hot or whatever the other asphalt material is we use?
No, it doesn't. I mean, hot asphalt works the best, and when it's warm and the hot asphalt plant is open, that's what we patch with. We actually patch potholes with the hot patch, but the asphalt plants don't open until after Easter, sometime around in there, and then they close early, usually around Thanksgiving. So in order to patch the potholes the rest of the time of the year.
For all the years I've been on the council, I've told people who wanted potholes filled, you have to wait for the real stuff, the stuff that really works, until the asphalt plants open, and they don't open until the spring, and they close in the fall. But I've never known why they are only open then. Why?
Well, when it's cold outside, to keep the asphalt super hot. I mean, it's the temperature. There's no way that they can maintain the temperature, and then once you get it to location, you actually have to keep it heated on something, or it's going to lock. It would just actually freeze.
Right,
the load would set before you even got it to roll it anyplace else.
So what you're saying, though, is there isn't the technology to keep this stuff hot, which just doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, and
you can keep cement soft by rolling it in that blender thing, and you can keep tar hot, but they can't keep that hot. That's interesting.
Yeah, and you don't see roofers out. They don't roof in the wintertime
Well,
either. Right.
But they roof long after these asphalt plants close. But, yeah, I mean, yeah. All right, so it has to do with just the facilities to heat.
Okay. All right, it's
I
been
think
moved in
somebody
second.
should work on that.
Yeah, that would be a nice invention, huh? All in favor?
Aye.
A 3.4, approval of contract awards to the North Suburban Asphalt Maintenance for 2011 crack sealing program. Staff recommends approval of a contract in response for requests for bids through the Municipal Partnering Committee to award the 2011 crack sealing contract to the lowest responsive and responsible bidder, North Suburban Asphalt Maintenance, in the amount of $50,000. Funding will be from the General Fund's Maintenance Account 2670-62509 in the amount of $50,000, which has $75,000 budgeted for the contract maintenance for funding year 2011. Is there?
Move approval.
It's been moved in second. Any questions? Okay. A 3.5.
All those
Oh, I'm sorry. All those in favor?
Aye.
A 3.5, approval of the 2011 Congestion Mitigation and Air Quality Grant application for the Dempster Street Signal Modernization Project and CTA Yellow Line Infill Station, Phase 1 Environmental Study. Staff recommends authorization for the city manager to apply for this grant. In the estimated cost for the Dempster Street Signal project is $990,000, including the CMAQ grant funding for $790,000 and the general obligation debt of $200,000. The estimated cost of the CTA Yellow Line infill station is $2,130,000, including the CMAQ grant funding of $1,704,000, and the general obligation debt of $426,000. Since the city did not receive approval until late 2011, or does that mean 2010 late or early 2011?
Late 2011. This is for next
Or will not receive approval until late 2011. The above amount will appear in the 2012 budget and capital improvement plan.
Move approval.
It's been moved and second. Are there questions? Alderman Rainey.
Well, this memo was really, really helpful because it's so hard to follow the status of the yellow line issue. It's just been extremely confusing for me, and this really laid it out, and I'm going to share the details with those who are asking, so I appreciate it. Thank you.
Are there other questions? It's been moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
A 3.6, approval of the Swank disposal contract for funding year 2011. Staff recommends approval of the refuge disposable fees to Swank, which is the Solid Waste Agency of Northern Cook County, in the amount of $75,000 for capital costs, $780,000 for operations and maintenance, and $60,000 in recycling transfer fees. Funding to be provided by the Solid Waste Fund account, 7685-68-310, that's capital, 7885-62405, operational and maintenance, and 7690-62415, recycling. The accounts have been budgeted, have budgets of $83,300, $899,640, and $788,018, respectively, for funding year 2011.
Move approval.
Is there a motion for? It's been moved in second. Are there any questions? Okay, all in favor?
I have a question.
Okay, I'm sorry, Alderman Rainey.
I know that everybody's been reading about the theft by the executive director of a significant amount of money, just under $1 million that they know about so far. I see here on page 81 that we do like a recap of our use of the weight of our garbage, and we got a credit for the last 4 years. What I want to know is, what do we do an audit? What do we do to get that information? I mean, it says staff's estimate has resulted in a modest credit for the last 4 years. So we've estimated more. We've paid more than is necessary for the amount of garbage we disposed of. And we're reducing our garbage all the time, right?
Well, we don't actually pay more. They do an estimate at the based on your previous generation of solid waste. And so based on that number, we have generated less garbage, and as a result, 3 to 4 months before the end of their budget year, they actually give us a true-up cost. So we get a credit right on the invoice. So we don't actually pay the money up front. You actually approve the payments every month. So they come back to the bills list every month.
Here's what I'm concerned about. I don't trust anything they do anymore. I just don't. This auditor, their auditors, he has been the guy who was arrested, was the finance director of the organization as well as the executive director or the accounting department. It's a 4-person office, I've read. I'm wondering, are the communities involved in Swank interested in doing a full-blown audit themselves? I mean, I know that the organization has done this audit, but that really doesn't comfort me much.
City Manager?
Yes, Madam Chair, members of the committee. I am the alternate representative on the Swank Board of Directors representing the City of Evanston. I think that if the council would like to discuss some more of the detailed matters regarding the changes that are happening in Swank, it might be appropriate for executive session because much of the auditing that's going on is part of the ongoing criminal investigation. So there are some additional details, Alderman Rainey, members of the committee, that I'm not comfortable getting into in open session. We can either have separate conversations about that, or I'd be happy to bring it to closed session. But there is additional auditing that is going on.
Well, I don't think it's appropriate for a closed session for me to say to you or to our other representative, Alderman Nguyen, that I'm very concerned, and I would like to know, I don't think this is secret information, I would like to know, are the communities interested in getting better numbers or just confirmation of the numbers that we've been paying? We pay lots of money to Swank. I have some familiarity with how they operate. I was the tireless representative from this community for about 10 years. And so I know how they operate, and I'm concerned. So I'm just sending a message with our representatives that I hope that now that all of a sudden everybody's surprise has happened, that we are going to be religious in finding out, number one, are we paying the proper amount for disposals? I mean, have those contracts been done properly? From there on down, those are the kinds of things I'm concerned about.
And Alderman Rainey, members of the committee, I think it is safe to say that all the member communities of Swank are very concerned. And I think every administrative process that has been in existence is being thoroughly reviewed and in most cases being significantly changed.
Well, I heard a lot of people were offended that this could have happened under their watch. And I'm really offended that it happened too, because that money's gone. So anyway, I think we should be very hard-nosed because somebody wasn't watching the store, and I'd like to be reassured that the store is going to be watched from now on. That's all I'm asking. That's all I'm asking.
And Alderman Rainey, members of the committee, Alderman Nguyen is the representative. I'm the alternate representative. Certainly the gravity of the situation is not lost on either of us. As I think you are aware, we're both sort of new to the game over the longer term issues regarding Swank, but clearly the individuals who are serving on the board today share your concerns, Alderman Rainey, from all the communities that make up Swank.
Thank you, City Manager. Okay, it's been moved and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. A4.1, approval of change order number 1 for group yard waste contract. Staff recommends approval of change order number 1 to the yard waste contract with Group Industries Incorporated in the amount of 55 cents per stop per month for the remainder of 2011. 27 cents per stop per month for 2012, and 21 cents per stop per month for 2013. 15 cents per stop per month for 2014, and 32 cents per stop per month for 2015 until October 31st. The total contract amount was originally approved at $476,370, but due to higher than anticipated total cart volume is recommended at a not to exceed $600,000 for 2011. Funding is to be provided by the Solid Waste Fund, which is 7690-62415, which has $788,018 budgeted for 2011. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second? Is there a second so we can have discussion, or?
I'll second it.
Okay, it's been moved and second. We have questions and comments. Alderman Rainey, anybody else? Alderman Fisk, and then.
Well, you know, I read all the way through this, and I fully understand what you're telling us, Suzette. But did you tell us at the time of this contract that there was a limit on the number of cans in the contract, the number that they would collect? I mean, I'm sure, was it in, did you tell us that?
No, they asked for that as a part of the contract negotiation. We did have in the RFP an estimate. So we did put the numbers in, and that information was shared with you as a part of where we thought
That
the
was an
cart numbers would
estimate.
be.
We weren't told, here are the numbers, and if we don't live up to these numbers, they're going to come back and ask us for more money? If
Well,
use too
we
many
gave them a range, and if we fell outside of that range, that opened up a renegotiation process. That's what the contract allowed for.
And I saw where you said, even with these additions, it is cheaper than our doing it, right? Even with these additions, this bid is still lower than the other bids, right?
That's correct.
Lorraine, you finished?
Yes, but you know what? This is exactly the kind of thing that happens when you privatize, you know? The very first year, they're back for more money.
Well,
And
Are there some other, maybe there's some other options? I have a question. Let me do Alderman Fisk, and I have a question. Okay. Alderman Fisk?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, I'm just really concerned about this. It seems logical to me that when you have, that our citizens can certainly figure out what's the most cost-effective way of approaching their yard waste, and they have figured that out, and that has increased the need for more cans, and that's going to continue. People aren't dumb. They realize that this is going to go on, and how much is this going to increase the cost to them for yard waste?
They'll increase by $160,000 as a result of the additional carts require them to have an additional truck, an additional crew collecting every day.
Okay, and for each citizen who has a yard waste can, what's their cost going to go up?
Their cost is still $25. We're not recommending at this point that
But
they're,
at some point, it's going to have to go up.
I mean, that would be up to you to decide, for council to decide if we were going to increase the cost or not.
Here comes the city manager, so let's hear what he has to say.
Well, while the city manager is coming, if I remember correctly, reading in here, if we don't do this, they want to walk away from the contract? Can they just do that, and can we put it out for bid again?
Yes, we could. The issue is two concerns. One, yard waste collection starts April 4th. So we would need to have some type of measure in place where they would continue to collect while we rebid. We do not believe that if we rebid that we would get a better rate based on the bids that we received previously. And yard waste as a standalone contract without bidding for refuse or recycling as a standalone contract, you get very few bidders that are interested in doing just that. And some don't want to bid on it at all, like Veolia just did not bid on the yard waste component as a part of this contract at all. So.
City manager.
Yes, Madam Chair, members of the committee. As this committee and the council has talked about previously, we are in a challenging time when it deals with all of our sanitation collection services. In addition to yard waste, we have the regular trash, we also have the recycling. And we continue to work to come up with the best balance between charges for all three. The council approved with this year's budget the creation of a solid waste fund. So all of the expenses and all of the revenues for all three are now commingled into one enterprise operation. I feel confident that we are going to continue to look at how best to balance the rates and charges to our residents. We want to continue to encourage them to recycle, and I think we need to continue to look at the cost associated with that. We want to be able to effectively and efficiently pick up the yard waste for the many reasons you've discussed in previous occasions, as far as the cleanliness of the community as well as maintenance of our infrastructure, and then ultimately we need to look at trash. There is, I think, a positive momentum that we have being creative between what city foresters do and what private contractors do. I think we need to continue to look at that. The council is also grappling with water and sewer rates, and I think the same types of dynamics are impacted there. You have our commitment to continue to be as nimble as we can in looking at these changes and to come to you. Our plan is not to come to you for any rate adjustment for the current year, 2011. We would anticipate we would come to you for rate adjustments in 2012, but to be mindful of that mix of the yard waste, the trash, and the recycling in order to come up with a structure that makes sense, which encourages recycling, which encourages people to get rid of their green waste responsibly, and then ultimately also make sure that the trash gets picked up.
Okay, anybody else? Any questions? Alderman Burrs.
As many of you know, I've had a lot of thought about the yard waste piece a lot, and where I think in some ways we need to give Groot some leeway here. And part of that is because the city, we gave them really inadequate estimates. Last year we were given what we thought, how many stickers would be purchased, how many people would use bags versus the carts, which never made sense to me because, as Alderman Fisk mentioned, the carts make a whole lot more sense financially. So where usually I'm very much against change orders, I think in this regard, I think we gave them bad data and didn't allow them to bid properly. So we hold some of the responsibility on that end. So I will vote to go forward with the change order, but I think we need to look at, when we're making these assumptions, that we have better data, that we're not doing it to make our numbers add up to what we want them to add up to, but rather we are making it with good information. So, once again, I think this is partially, if not more than 50%, our doing and not necessarily Groot's doing.
Okay, Alderman Fisk.
Well, I guess I'd pose to city staff, how much do you think this is going to change this year? I mean, do you think we've had the response from citizens that we can make a good judgment on how many more yard waste carts are going to be requested this year?
Yes, we started out, when we did our first count at the beginning of the season, we were about at 1,500 to 2,000. When we did our count at the end, we were pretty close to just under 5,000, 4,500 is the total. We have had space limitations in terms of where people can put the carts, limits them, but it's a great deal to get the carts. When we put this program together and set the rates, we set the rates based on the city collecting yard waste. And so because of that, we really wanted more carts because we were trying to reduce our workers' comp liability in terms of injury. And that business model works well for us, but it doesn't work well for a contractor because they prefer to pick up the bags. They want to, it's a lot easier, they can work a lot faster hauling the bags in the back of a truck versus emptying a cart because it takes time to put the cart on a cart tipper. All of that is time, and for the cart to actually tip, because it's a semi-automated operation. So that is what's slowing them down. So where it made sense for our business model, it didn't make sense or doesn't make sense for theirs in terms of cost. So since that is the better deal, I think that we will see an increase. And we did make an adjustment in the contract to cover, and I believe it was up to 6,500. Do you remember, Grant, off the top of your head what the total?
600.
6,000. And so we're at 4,400. And they agreed to take us up to 6,000, 6,000 carts. as their threshold before that would result in another negotiation point for them. We have about 100 additional requests right now for carts, so that will put us, just over 4,500. So it's slowing down for sure in terms of.
So our question today is whether we want to go ahead with Groot on this, or whether we want to renegotiate, or whatever we want to do. The question before us is to go ahead with Groot or to figure out something else.
That's correct.
Okay. Can we try it for this year with no increase in cost to our citizens and then revisit?
There won't be a cost to the citizens.
Alderman Fisk, members of the council, there is no increased cost to the citizens.
Well, I know, but I mean in 2012.
That
we
would
were
be
talking about
a
an
future
increase.
discussion for the council going forward.
Okay.
You would be setting rates for 2012 at a future meeting.
Right, I know, yeah.
Alderman Rainey?
But based on the increases that we're writing into the contract through 2015, do you see any reason why, looking ahead to them, then, that if these stay in place, that we would need any increase?
Any increase for the cart?
For the resident charge on our water bills?
Well, not for
We
the.
know something now, we know what the new prices are going to be.
Yes. And the estimates that we projected in terms of revenue were based on a mix of stickers and carts, and with more carts, that's less revenue. So it's going to become a matter of, when we get to $690,000, 5 years from now, in terms of the annual contract, are we collecting that much in revenue to offset the yard waste fee? And granted, we don't just use the yard waste revenue to offset the solid waste fund. The sanitation service charge goes in there as well. So we would have to look at all of that.
And Alderman Rainey, I don't know that you had your question answered. I think it was a matter of specifically asking and looking toward 2012. At this point, Ms. Robinson, do you?
No, going all the way to 2015.
But probably.
But Ms. Robinson, at this point, I think it's still undetermined if there would be an adjustment into the rates that we would ask the residents to pay. That's undetermined at this point.
That's correct.
The amount.
That's correct.
Okay, if there are no more questions? I know. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Are you opposed, Alderman Rainey? No. Oh, okay. All righty. A4.2, approval of change order for the Evanston Police Department's firing range project. Staff recommends approval of change order number 1 in the amount of $84,581.41 for the Evanston Police Department firing range project. This change order will increase the current contract amount from $180,580 to $265,161.41. Funding will be provided by Capital Improvement Fund number 415,721 with a total balance of $265,161.41. Is there a motion for approval?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Are there questions, comments? I loved your comment that you sent on the email.
All I did was I asked all of you to read Doug, Paul, and Stephanie's accounting of what's been going on. I mean, I went with Peter Braithwaite, alderman of the 2nd Ward to be, to the police station this weekend with the chief to see the shooting range. They wanted me to go because I've always complained so much about these expenditures. When I got there, I was even more depressed. I mean, it is nothing. I mean, everything you see in there has to be pulled out and redone, and it's a mess. I mean, and now I guess we're going with another engineer or design or, anyway, I'm just going to ask all of you to please keep a close eye on this. And, you know, while this is a good report, I think we need regular, absolute, on-target updates, and we need to assign a member of our staff or hire an owner's representative to stay on top of this, because this has got to either stop or be done with. Stop or be done with. I know the sad story about how much it costs for us to send our cops to another county to do a firing range. But I don't believe, no matter how high-tech and how the technology changes over time for shooting ranges, there has got to be somebody in this world who can come here and help us with this. I was told the company that the chief has worked with in the past is the company to work with. Well, I see that we've been fooling around with them since 2008. This is 2011. Anyway, I'm not even confused. If I were confused about it, it would feel so much better, but I think I understand it, and it's a disaster.
Okay, City Manager, you wanted to make a comment?
Yes, Alderman Holmes, members of the committee. This is a very important project for us. When I arrived as your city manager in the summer of 2009, we pretty much shut down all the capital projects we were doing with the exception of two, and that was the roof for this building and the firing range. Alderman Rainey is absolutely correct. This is a project that has meandered for a number of years, and upon my arrival in 2009, the meandering had slowed down to even less than a meander, to a crawl. And in talking with both Chief Eddington and Mr. Gaynor and members of our Parks, Recreation, Community Services staff, it was clear that those two projects, the City Hall roof and this project, needed to have proper supervision, proper management in order to move forward. And I feel very confident at this point that we are at that point with Mr. Gaynor, Mr. DiAgostino, and Ms. Levine. Ms. Levine, I think, did a great job with this roof. I would say this is probably one of her main capital projects as we are moving forward now over the next several months. And it is complicated. And one of the things I looked at upon my arrival was, is this something we even wanted to continue to do and be in the business of? And certainly the cost that Alderman Rainey referred to as far as overtime for our officers to qualify is real, but it's also important that in addition to the qualification time, that the officers have the range for training, that they have the range for individual practice. This is a police department where firearms are used in the line of duty. Many police departments can't say that on a regular basis, but this one can. And I think it's extremely important that we move forward to have the range that makes sense. I think the other piece that Chief Eddington brought to the table upon his arrival was also to make sure that the range made sense for us as we move forward. The range, I think, was designed initially for one type of training. Firearms training has changed over time, and I think that the changes we're moving forward with now will reflect that. My worst fear would be to finish the renovation of the range and have the officers come to us and say that it's not adequate to do X, Y, or Z. And I think and the chief, who's an experienced marksman, probably can speak more expertly on this subject than I can. Certainly, I think we feel that the range will do that. But Alderman Rainey, members of the committee, you have my commitment, you have the commitment of Mr. Gaynor, Mr. DiAgostino, and Ms. Levine. And it's really Ms. Levine, if you're looking for a single person, she's the day-to-day person responsible for managing this project. And from my personal experience, she's very good at this, and I think from this point forward, we should be able to get this project done per the staff report that you have before you.
Okay. Any other questions, comments?
Well, it's the best accounting we've ever gotten of the chronology of the mess. So.
That was a reflection, Alderman Rainey, of Ms. Levine and her attention to detail, and she is the responsible staff, and I feel very comfortable putting the project in her hands.
Great.
If anybody can do it, she can, and so.
That's been my experience.
Up an
21 inches of snow and the roof is still there,
A? I know.
And the 311 Center, too.
more or less. Still there.
311 Center, too.
She will become known as the United States most informed person on gun shooting ranges, whatever they call it. Shooting galleries.
Cocktail conversation.
And don't forget to change your January 25, 2010 to 2011. Okay, January and February. That's the only other thing. Okay, any other questions, comments? Okay, it's been moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Resolution 17-R-11, authorizing the use of motor fuel tax funds for resurfacing Dodge Avenue from Oakton Street to Lee. The Evanston Department of Public Work recommends City Council approval of Resolution 17-R-11, authorizing the use of motor fuel tax funds in the amount of $300,000 for the Dodge Avenue Street resurfacing project. This project will be funded through the Motor Fuel Tax Fund, number 200, and CIP funds, number 415857. $665,000 from that fund and $300,000 from the motor fuel. Is motion?
Move approval.
Second.
It's been moved in second. Are there questions or comments? Yes, Alderman Burrs.
We are very excited in the 9th and the 2nd Ward to
And
be.
the 8th, we have to drive through there.
Yes, to have this section of Dodge paved because it's in bad shape.
It is.
Real.
Great. Anybody else? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. A6, Resolution 18-R-11, authorizing use of motor fuel tax funds for general maintenance of streets. Staff recommends approval of Resolution 18-R-11, by which City Council would authorize the transfer of $586,886 of motor fuel tax funds for general maintenance of streets and city forces. The transfer was approved as part of the 2011 budget. So,
Move approval.
Second.
moved in second. Are there any comments, questions? I have some notes. I'm just trying to make sure it's not on this one. Okay. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, next is A7, Ordinance 19-0-11, Special Assessment Number 1509 Alley Paving Project, north of Main Street, east of Gray Avenue. Staff recommends approval of proposed ordinance 19-0-11, by which City Council would authorize paving of the alley north of Main Street, east of Gray Avenue, through the special assessment process. Funding for this work will be 50% special assessment funds and 50% by homeowners, to be collected over a period of 10 years. The city's share of $130,707.35 will be paid by the Special Assessment Fund 6365-65515.
Move approval.
Second.
It's been moved and second. Are there questions or comments? I think Alderman Rainey.
What were the objections? The minutes or some report of the meeting said that there were objectors present, but there was no information about the objectors or how many there were, or maybe it said 50.
Yeah,
But you
there were.
didn't say what the objections were.
There were two families that were represented that came to the public hearing that objected to the alley. Their primary objection was the funding. They didn't want to pay for the alley to be paved.
But it was two households
Two
out
hou-
of the whole thing.
Yes, and we had 68% approval, yeah.
And were they advised of the financial assistance program?
Yes, we do that as a part of the public hearing, but I do not believe that they
They
qualified.
didn't, they
Yes.
just don't want to do it. Yeah, okay, I get it. All right, I just wanted to know.
Director Robinson, I just wanted you to know that under Section 7 of the ordinance, I'll join you in prayer. It says that the Board of, the President of the Board of Local Improvement will be praying, will pray, so I'm going to join her. I just want to note that.
Those meetings are really something, I hear.
Okay. Okay.
Dolores?
Yes, Alderman Burrs.
Marty has his hand up.
Oh, I'm sorry, Artie.
Sorry, Alderman Holmes.
Good evening, members of the committee. Marty Lyons. Just one note. I did speak with Alderman, not elect, Alderman appointed Braithwaite, because this is in his ward. So made sure that he was aware. It's just for introduction tonight, and he'll be studying it. If there's any specific issues, I'm sure we'll be able to report back, and if for any reason we can handle those in our current timeline, if for any reason we need to talk about this one any further.
Okie dokie. It's been moved and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. A8, ordinance 20-0-11, special assessment number 1507, alley paving project, north of Brummel Street, east of Callan Avenue. Staff recommends approval of ordinance 20-0-11, by which the City Council would authorize paving of the alley north of Brummel Street, east of Callan, through the special assessment process. The estimated total of this project is $61,150.10. The city's share is $45,862.57, which is 75% of the total cost to the adjacent CTA property on the north side of the proposed alley paving project. It has been the city's practice to share to fund the share of public agencies. Funding for this project will be 75% special assessment funds and 25% by homeowners to be collected over a period of 10 years.
Move approval.
Second.
It's been moved and second. Are there any questions? Okay, Alderman Rainey.
I'm not sure who is overseeing the engineering of this, but are you aware, whoever, Paul, that embankment collapsed one time? And years ago, that entire roadway behind that building just collapsed on top of the CTA tracks.
Paul Schneider, city engineer. Committee members, no, actually, thank you for pointing that out. I was unaware that we had any stability problems in the back of that alley.
I think the CTA, what I'm telling you this is so you can see what they did, because I know it cost the building owner a fortune to restore, because it went up right to the garages there. But it was a very big deal, and the CTA had to stop the trains. And
Well, we'll certainly review that, and
I
actually,
think they did some reinforcement,
I think actually improving the alley will help stabilize the situation in the back behind
but it
that.
might cost more. I don't know.
We'll review that as we proceed with the construction. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? It's been moved and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, A9, ordinance 21-0-11, amending the city code section 3-5-6Y, Class Y liquor license to regulate wine tasting and permit sales of warm beer. The local liquor commissioner recommends city council adoption of ordinance 21-0-11, amending city code section 3-5-6Y, a Class Y liquor license to regulate wine tasting and permit sales of warm beer. The proposed ordinance will permit licensees to charge for wine tasting and to sell warm beer in no more than 10% of their stores. The proposed amendment conforms to state statute. Is there a motion for approval? Second. Okay, it's been moved and second. Are there questions or comments? Alderman Rainey.
Is the fee, the fee the same for the new license as it was for the old license where you couldn't serve beer or charge for tastings? Not interested in charging for tastings, but I would think beer edition is.
Madam Chair, members of the committee grant for our Corporation Council, as I stand here tonight, I honestly don't know the answer to that question. Alderman Rainey, I'll have to look at the fee schedule, and I will get that information back to you.
Just a thought, because there certainly is an advantage to selling beer. Yeah.
Okay, it's been moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. We have under items for discussion, sweeping discussion follow-up, and also the bus shelters, which I really want to get to. Okay, Director Robinson. Get to do double duty, right?
Good evening, everyone. I just wanted to, excuse me, follow up on the street sweeping changes that we had requested at the last meeting. I put before you, I believe you have a map that, for the one-sided, this is the proposal that we have to change the one-sided. Do you not have one, Alderman? Okay. To change the one-sided to being swept every Monday. First Monday, second Monday, third Monday is what you will see noted here. When they are mixed in with the residential two-sided program, it results in limited parking availability, so we want to be able to move that back as a separate program and to respond to the complaints that we had regarding the pilot program, where we allowed residents to park on the opposite side of the street, and it really didn't work out very well because compliance was poor, and it resulted in some public safety concerns, as well as school buses not being able to get down the one-sided streets when residents didn't move. So we're hoping that this will clear that up, and it's actually very straightforward in terms of the residents being able to know exactly when to move, because the sign will say first Monday, second Monday, third Monday, fourth Monday. And so they don't have to worry about remembering any dates as it relates to the one-sided program.
Alderman Rainey?
I think it's a good idea. I mean, another change is not a good idea, but it's going to be positive. And people have just gone through so many changes from the Public Works Department. And what I am hoping is that we are going to, I think we should hand deliver a letter to these people, the ones who are going to experience a new change. Because people are going to say, I didn't look at the new sign, I don't have a computer, I didn't get your phone call, you know.
Well, we are, as you know, in the spring, and this is why I'm pushing, we do the at-your-disposal mailing to everybody.
And it's wonderful.
And we are going to do that, and it's going to have all the changes to the street sweeping schedule, all the dates for all the programs will be incorporated in that brochure, and it will be mailed out to every resident.
And it's wonderful, but this is another change that people aren't expecting, and I think there's so few, I mean, there aren't a lot of neighborhoods where this is effective. I just think we ought to do something more personal. Okay. Or if nothing else, send a separate letter, about this.
Okay, we can do that.
Maybe something like that.
Okay.
You live on one side of the street, parking.
We'll put that in the next water bill.
Yeah, we can do that.
But they don't all get
But they
a water
don't.
bill. There's
Right,
some
right.
apartments in there. But, I mean, we could do that, too.
Yeah, and we've done flyers. We've done where we do a half sheet, and we may be able to do something like that in addition to the at your disposal, which will, we're working on finishing that, and that will be delivered before April 4th, before the start of street sweeping season, so. And we're going to make sure that the maps, whatever we put in there, the map is going to look just like this in the document. It's going to look just like this on the website, so that we don't have, I think we had a different coloring scheme before, and so we're just going to match everything up so that what they receive in the mail will also be what they see on the website. Now, that is the one thing. The other more challenging request in terms of changes, it deals with the special sweep. As you know, we had a special sweep program that we would like to roll that program either into the tri-weekly program or in the bi-weekly program. And what that means is that we had some streets that were earmarked to be swept between 9 to 4 on a bi-weekly basis. That was a whole nother schedule and a list of dates for people to remember, and made it very, very confusing. And we're trying to consolidate down to the one-sided map and a bi-weekly 4 a.m. to 7 a.m. schedule and a tri-weekly 9 to 4. So we want to be able to roll the special sweep into the tri-weekly 9 to 4 and just have 2 schedules with dates and the map for one-sided, and to simplify things. Because we received a lot of complaints about too many maps, too many schedules, and people just really were confused. So we're hoping to alleviate some of that confusion. So I'm hoping that that's okay as well. Okay. Thank you very much.
Any other questions or comments? Okay,
I believe Paul is going to talk about bus shelters.
Okay.
Paul, come down so you can see.
Paul Schneider, City Engineer. Madam Chairman, committee members, this evening we wanted to come give you an update where we were on the bus shelter program. Last September, City Council approved a 10-year contract with Creative Outdoor Advertising of America, and the contract's actually going to start here in the spring as we start to roll out some of these bus shelter locations. So what's been done so far is Creative Advertising has come to the city of Evanston, and they have done a preliminary review of the city, and they have recommended 56 locations for potential bus shelters. Upon approval, COA will start installation this summer. They're going to be looking to go in phases with 15 bus shelters going in with each phase. It's going to require 8 weeks of lead time for them to manufacture the shelters. And once the first phase is installed, they will at that point then seek local business advertisement for the shelters. Additionally, we requested input from the aldermen, and we got an additional 25 locations from the aldermen. We have also got some locations where aldermen have indicated that they would prefer not to see shelters, and this would include Sheridan Road in the First Ward. The intersection of Ridge and Oakton was also identified as an area where they might not be appropriate. In addition to the aldermanic recommendations, there are also 9 other locations identified in the multimodal plan that we've also added to the list to look at. The approved locations, which are in the historic district, those will have to be presented to the Preservation Commission. We won't start looking at those until we have the first phase in, though. What will happen is, as we start to look at the locations, we will go out and do utility locates, first of all. As we look at the utility locates, we also review ADA compliance. We'll look at the width of the right-of-way. We'll also check tree and other impacts to determine if it's feasible to place a bus shelter at one of these locations we've identified. If we're able to, we'll go ahead and proceed again with locations that are approved by the ward alderman. Again, Sure, Alderman Fisk.
I'm sorry, Paul. Which utilities are required for the shelters, just electric?
Well, the shelters themselves will not have utilities. What we're looking at are where we have existing underground utilities, gas, water, electrical, that may prohibit us from placing a bus shelter at that location.
Okay, so the shelters won't be lighted or heated, or they'll just be
Not at this
shelters?
time. That's something that's left open for the future, potentially getting solar lighting. We haven't, other than having broached the subject with them, we wanted to go ahead and get some of these first phases underway before we moved into that discussion.
Paul, I know you haven't gotten to the bus shelter further, but I think probably if you took a poll, I'm the biggest advocate of bus shelters. But these bus shelters will not be placed in my ward. These have got to be the ugliest bus shelters I ever saw. And they're a good example of why some people don't want bus shelters. And it has nothing to do with the advertising on them, because I have no problem with advertising on bus shelters. But what are these things? I mean, there are things on, where's the shelter part to them? The reason I want a bus shelter, unless these aren't really the right bus shelters, are these the right bus shelters?
These are the right bus shelters.
Well, the reason I want bus shelters is because first of all, I've seen some of the PACE shelters. They're lovely. They're very nice. They keep them spotless. I don't know if PACE does the work or the people they've contracted with does it, but they're enclosed and they're protective. I see people, I have the Target shopping center in my ward. People, I've said this before, I've seen people with televisions waiting for the bus. And you see that all over town. People up and down Howard Street, up and down Ridge, Dodge, Chicago Avenue, people in the driving snow with babies, people in wheelchairs. There is no place for them to get shelter to wait for a bus unless there happens to be, the CVS shelter on Howard Street or a couple of the other shelters around the PACE shelters. But how do these shelters do anything other than serve as a four-legged billboard? Where's the protection? Where's the shelter?
Is there glasses?
Well, I can't tell if there's glass. I don't.
There's glass on three sides.
On all of them.
On three sides.
But they're so, how tall are they? And, no, that's not good.
Looking back at the RFQ process or the RFP process that we went through, we got 2 respondents to our RFP. One respondent we did not feel was responsible.
I think
They
this
were
one's
just in-
responsible. I have no problem.
This was really the only other respondent. This is the only bus shelter that this company uses because it suits their purpose for their advertising. Looking at it, it is difficult to see, but there is glass.
Where
on-
can we go
on
and look
three
at
sides.
where? I thought there was glass on this one. I could see a reflection. But I don't understand the design at all. I mean, it's just horrible.
one that's on the left, let's look at it from like
I know, but I don't understand it. It's stupid looking. I mean, it looks like it's going to take off or something,
Star Wars.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, it is a very open look to it because, again, it has
Open
glass
look
on
is
the
good.
three- on the
Open
three
look is
sides.
good. But are they here?
These are the first, it's my understanding that Evanston is the first community in the Chicagoland area that's getting these shelters, so I don't have
Have
an area to
they've
point you
done
to.
shelters before though?
Nationally,
Yeah.
Rajiv, can you help me with some areas where they've done work? I believe primarily like in Florida.
Rajiv Dahal, Senior Traffic Engineer. They've done it in the south, but like Paul said, in the Chicago area, we're the first, and they've recently started talking to Green Bay also. So we don't have any examples in our area.
Well,
Do you think maybe they could do a model, that they send you so that we could see it? I'm not talking about a to scale model, but just so you can see the glass. I think that when I first looked at it, I wasn't sure that, but
I thought I could see glass on this view of it.
yeah, but the second one, you couldn't
But
really.
you know what? We've been told by all sorts of people. We've been told by CVS's, by Walgreens, by all sorts of people that they can only do one kind of thing. And we find out that no, in other places, they've done other kinds of things. So what I would like an opportunity to do, unless the other aldermen think these are beautiful and want them in their ward, I would really like an opportunity to meet with them. Are they around any place?
Well, like I said, they are out of Florida, I believe, and they had come up to visit us the night we actually presented to council in September.
I remember.
I don't see any reason why we couldn't invite them back and ask them to bring the material that they use, or potentially even install a test location for everyone's view.
No, this is just too it's just, I don't know what it is. It just, I just kept thinking, what is that? It's, I can't get the dimensions.
Alderman Fisk.
Paul, can you tell us what the materials are? Is it metal? Is it plastic?
It's a galvanized steel tubing, sheathed in a hard-formed plastic. The sides, like we said, are glass.
It's glass?
That's the glass part.
It's my understanding they were glass. Rajiv, could you check that for me?
Madam Chair.
Mr. City Manager, I'm sorry.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, we would be happy to hold this item in committee, come back with some additional information, either after some additional discussion with the vendor to see what additional options there may be. I think clearly hearing from the council this evening, there's additional work to be done, and we'd be happy to leave this in committee and come back to you at a future meeting.
Thank you. Alderman Rainey.
I don't want to be misunderstood. I like this company. I thought that they were very thoughtful and caring and very easy to interact with. But we never saw this product. And so that's all I'm interested in talking about. How do we go about, I mean, that will never be in a historic district, and it's not going to be on Howard Street either. I mean, it's just not.
But I think if we, I still say.
I think
if
it
we
can
had
be
some kind of
modified.
model that we may have a different perspective of it.
Maybe.
To me, it looks sort of disjointed there, but maybe I'm willing to look at it in another venue, so.
And Madam Chair, members of the committee, allow us to spend a little bit more time. As I know you all know, one of the challenges we face is the balance between the construction of shelters that are good, can withstand the elements, also that are not prone to high maintenance, because certainly that's one of the greatest challenges with any kind of bus shelter is the maintenance piece. So we're, again, happy to come back at a future meeting with some additional options and thoughts.
But not, oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Alderman Fisk.
Well, if this is helpful, here are some concerns that I have. There was a bus shelter at the intersection of Emerson and Sherman probably for 10 years. It was originally a nice-looking bus shelter, but over the time, people would etch slogans or names or initials or other comments into the glass, and those could not be removed. And also, I'm aware that when glass is spray painted and the remover is put on a piece of glass, it will permanently etch into the glass. And I know we've discussed who is going to maintain this, but I want to have a reassurance about who's going to replace that glass, or whether it's plastic, which is even worse.
Well, one of the great things about this company is they do that. And if you look at the PACE shelters all around Chicago, you will see how beautifully they are maintained. Because the advertisers that are paying to have their product being shown will yank it immediately, because if they look awful. And the companies that provide these, they maintain them, and they maintain them in really great shape. If you want to see a poorly maintained bus shelter, the Leaning Tower of Howard and Custer is the one to look at. That's one we maintain, and it's horrific. It's just
Well, we
outrageous.
worked hard to get the bus shelter removed from Emerson and Sherman because it was just a terrible eyesore.
Well, I'm not going to have this one moved until we can replace it, because it serves as a real shelter for lots and lots of people who sit there and wait for the bus. And it's the only abuse it's really gotten over time, I think, is Scotch tape and lack of maintenance, you know. So, anyway, yeah.
We'll hold this in committee.
But not for a long time.
No, we
Let's
don't
get on this right away.
And I also told Rajiv about Emerson and do it because that didn't make the list. That was my one request. Okay, but he wrote it down, so, because we need one at Jacob
Yeah.
Lake.
Oh, definitely.
Okay? All right, that ends our agenda for this evening. Before we adjourn, the P&D should start at 7:45. Okay.
I was trying to help you out, Laura.
Thank you. Meeting's adjourned.